Hey everybody, Andy Schweiger here, and thank you for joining me today for another fun webisode of Schweiger Live. Today is the first of our virtual wine tastings. Thought we would take it outside today and enjoy the beautiful spring, weather. Had a few drizzles last night and we're partly cloudy, but a beautiful day. Starting to see a little bud break happening, especially up in our Chardonnay. So what a perfect day to open up a bottle of Schweiger Chardonnay and enjoy it together with a group of friends. Now, I know many of you watching are longtime club members and very familiar with our Chardonnay, but thought it'd be fun to talk about this in a little more detail. We're one of a small handful of wineries doing 100% Spring Mount District Chardonnay. And our appellation really gives a unique minerality, a flavor, and a white peach component that you typically don't see in California Chardonnay. These are descriptors that I normally associate with classic Merceau. So it really makes for a fun wine. Just out of curiosity, you guys can answer in the chat. Hopefully some of you have a bottle of Chardonnay and are opening up and enjoying with me, because you don't want me drinking alone now, do you? So we have about 2 acres of Chardonnay. We've been often asked, well, why are you growing Chardonnay? Why don't you do more Cabernet? We could make more Cabernet. We could make more money selling more Cabernet, but sometimes it's not about making money. It's about what you love doing, and it's about what you can do amazingly well and different from everybody else. Not to mention, yeah, got to have something to enjoy with different types of food. Actually, last night for dinner, we made an amazing risotto. So if anybody wants, you can leave in the comments and I can leave you my technique for making risotto with a little lemon zest, and asparagus, a great springtime pairing. So for those of you who have it open, I have my bottle from the latest shipment and just opened it. Jack Corley, thank you for joining and chatting in, and really appreciate everybody coming in on the chats. 2017 vintage. Those of you who may remember, that was our year of the wildfires. Of course, Chardonnay came in well before the fires came along. Actually, we were done by the time the fires really hit. So everything that we brought in from that vintage had little or no smoke taint. Chardonnay was actually happily fermenting away in barrels by the time we even had to worry about that. Our Chardonnay is well, as I mentioned earlier, the fruit, the characteristics, the white peach, the minerality, these are very unique components. And I don't want our winemaking techniques to get in the way of this. So we have decided over the years to really express the fruit. So we're only doing about 20% new French oak in our winemaking. We do about 20% stainless steel fermentation as well. Really let the fruit shine and be the star of this wine. The rest of the barrel fermentation is 2 to 5 year old French oak. A lot of bright citrus aromas in here as well. If anybody has any food pairings they enjoy with Chardonnay, I would love for you to share those in the comments field. And if you want to share the recipe, we could post that in the comments of the YouTube section when we post that online. Cheers from Philly, would love for you to share your risotto recipe. Okay, James, we'll do that. And also hi to Amy Hogan, to our Atlanta members online and tasting as well. So in addition to the aromas, I really want our Chardonnay to have bright, crisp acidity. To me, you need good acidity in wine to make it more food-friendly, more vibrant, to refresh your palate between bites. So we are being very careful that we pick this just as the fruit is really being expressive, but before the acidity ever starts to metabolize away and produce more of a flabby wine. But we also don't want this to be as crisp and acidic as our Sauvignon Blanc. We want this to be a different style of wine. So we're very careful. We actually age this sur lees, that is on the yeast cells. So after the fermentation is complete, we Well, actually, that's the royal we. Most of that work these days goes out to my hardworking assistant winemaker, Becca, stirs these barrels once a week. And when you're stirring those barrels, you're really releasing a lot of the amino acids from the cell walls that enhance the viscosity and the roundness of the wine. And there's Rebecca. Hi. So we talked about the barrel aging. We talked about surlies. You know, one thing we don't do with our Chardonnays and have not done since, I think, the 97 vintage, is we don't put this wine through any malolactic fermentation. While malolactic fermentation is appropriate in cooler growing regions, or if your fruit is lacking something in mid-palate and you need to fatten up the palate by naturally reducing the acidity or bringing in a little butteriness to it, you can do that. But to me, I think that would get in the way of the wine. I'm not saying Malo is wrong. I'm just saying that for my taste with our fruit, I really want to express the bright fruit characteristics. For those of you who aren't familiar with malolactic fermentation, it is a bacterial reaction in the wine that converts malic acid to lactic acid. Now, I'm not going to go down the chemistry rabbit hole today, but in short, lactic acid is a weaker acid than malic acid. So when you allow malolactic fermentation to occur, you're naturally deacidifying the wine. Along the way, compound, probably the least chemical compound most wine lovers know, is diacetyl. And by no great coincidence, diacetyl is the primary ingredient in artificial movie theater popcorn butter. And the bacteria conducting malolactic fermentation produce diacetyl. So I don't want that butteriness. I want the crisp acidity. So we deny the wines to go through malolactic fermentation. Anybody have any questions or comments about the wine so far? Well, if so, feel free to chime in. In the coming days, we are going to be doing more of the virtual tastings. Wednesday, 2 days from now, at the same time, we're going to delve into, I believe, 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon, and then Friday will be dedication. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, we are going to do part 2 of our history series. And Paul was a big help to me this weekend, scanning in a lot of photos. And the project keeps growing and growing, and we've got a lot of fun, amazing history to share. So that will be tomorrow. So be sure to pre-register for that. I've got a comment coming in from Amy Hogan. What is the shelf life of the Chardonnay? Good question. It all depends on your storage, but if you have a good wine cellar or wine refrigerator or a nice cool spot in your basement to store this in, our Chardonnays, because of the bright acidity, age gracefully for a long time. I recently had a bottle of 2003 and it was still showing nicely. As Chardonnay ages, you know, right now this is a very nice pale straw color. As it ages, it's going to turn a little bit more honey in color and get darker, and it will work better with different pairings. But this 2017, I'd say, could age at least another 10 to 15 years. Your mileage may actually vary. The important thing is store it right, enjoy it, and keep coming back and enjoy how it evolves and changes. Hey, Becca, thank you. What is the entry, mid-palate, and finish for you on the Chardonnay? So, and that was very timely because I finally took a moment to take a taste of it for myself today. On the entry, to me, it's quite floral with a little bit of honeysuckle, and it's very soft. The acidity slowly grows, and as you get the mid-palate, you get a nice textured acidity to it, and it finishes off with that bright acidity, some of the citrus notes that are complemented with the earlier honey and floral aromas, or flavors, I should say, and just leaves a fresh, vibrant fruitiness in the palate. So that's about all I have for today. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If anybody has any more questions or comments, otherwise, please tune in tomorrow for our history part 2 and Wednesday for our next virtual tasting. I appreciate you guys all tuning in and checking us out. Until next time, share your Schweiger, stay safe, stay healthy. Cheers.